What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of the Dossier, the Marvel Crisis Protocol show where we discuss all things Crisis Protocol characters, from the design of their miniature up to their character card, and where we kind of feel that they fit on the game table itself. Remember, these are not meant to be comprehensive videos. These are meant to just be overviews, kind of give you an idea of what the character is able to do and where we feel that they kind of fit in the game. There are some really great comprehensive discussions online that you can go find. I definitely highly recommend that you check those out if anything in this character sounds interesting to you, because they will definitely give you the higher level there. And remember, these shows cannot happen without the support of all our wonderful patrons. Thank you so much to each and every patron at both levels of the patronage. If you want to support the channel, hit up patreon.com/AegisBrandStudios, and I thank you so much for that one. And of course, thank you to everyone who tunes in on a regular basis and checks these videos out. So today we are checking out the youngest of the three Wolverines here, and that is the Honey Badger. This is Gabrielle Kenny, and she's an interesting little two threat. I actually really like her a lot as far as what she does on the game. But let's take a look at her model to start off with. So let's get her up here. So right off the bat, let's address the elephant in the room here. Those claws. These claws are really kind of annoying. They're very thin. They're very fragile. I've, as you can see, I've kind of bent one quite a bit at this point, which was really kind of annoying. Otherwise, I mean, I think she's kind of got that like little bratty young kid demeanor going on there, which I think is really kind of cool. I like the design of the costume itself. I think it works really well as far as something that stands out. That looks kind of good, which I really kind of enjoy. The overall model itself, easy to put together. Again, the claws are really the only real concern on this one. Very fragile, very easy to break. Gotta watch out for those ones. But otherwise, yeah, that's Honey Badger there for you. Not a whole lot to the model. I think it's a fine model. Definitely right in the middle of the pack for me. I got no real complaints about it. So let's take a look at her card here. And I think she's a really interesting one. So right off the hop, 5 stamina, medium movement, size 2, 2 threat, and 3/2/2 for his defenses. For a 2 threat, I think all that is perfectly fine. The 5 stamina is actually really kind of nice. If I recall, I think that is the highest stamina of any of the 2 threat characters. I think Toad has the 5 as well, but he also goes down to a 3 on his injured side. Now she does drop to a 4 on her injured side, so she has 9 stamina total, which, again, that's actually pretty good for a 2 threat character, especially considering some of her abilities and what card she has access to. So her first attack is a Claw Rush. It is range 2, 5 dice. It is your typical builder attack, so you're going to gain gain power equal to damage dealt. You have a Wild Bleed. I mean, it's good. The bleed is one of those conditions that, when it matters, it matters. When it doesn't, it doesn't. But people tend to always they tend to leave it alone. A lot of the time, bleed is one of those conditions where until it really becomes an issue, they don't really tackle it, which is always kind of a nice one. We have Hamstring, which is a range 2, 5 dice for 3 power. And after the attack is resolved, the target character gains slow and bleed. And there's a Wild Elusive, so they can advance medium after the attack is resolved. Hamstrings are a great way of kind of getting a Honey Badger into a position that you want her to be in, either moving away or getting close to another objective or a target or something like that. It's solid. Now, at 5 dice attacks, she's not putting out the most damage, especially considering, unlike X-23 and Wolverine, she lacks that pierce on her attacks. But again, she's more meant to be a nuisance more than anything else. And we see that right here with 2 Dangers to Ignore, which is a reactive ability for 2 power. When an enemy character within 2 of this character targets another allied character with an attack, you use the superpower. This character becomes the target of the attack, regardless of range and line of sight. So this is awesome. She has a taunt. She's got a 2 threat taunt, and I absolutely love it. She has saved so many characters for me because I've just taken attacks on Honey Badger as opposed to the characters I don't want to have attacked. And it's really excellent because when you put a big attack into Honey Badger, it never really feels good. She doesn't really have the defenses to hold off against it or the stamina to hold off against it. So a big attack into her always kind of feels like you're forced in a situation that you don't want to be in as an attacker. We have Ankle Biter. So this character cannot contest, interact with, or hold objective tokens. Additionally, while an enemy character is within one of this character is attacked by another allied character, the enemy character rolls one less defense side. So this is really important. She's never contributing to your objective game. She can't contest. She's not interacting. She's not holding objective. So, no hammers, no cubes. She's not holding extremis consoles. She's not counting towards anything. So it's very important to keep that in mind. But what it also means is that she is freed up to just, again, be that nuisance. You add to the fact that she's basically incinerate on a stick by being close to an enemy target, which means she has to be taken out, because otherwise the rest of your team is just getting that advantage. And it stacks with Incinerate on top of that. So you can actually layer this with Incinerate and reduce their defenses by 2, which can really impact an enemy character when you're attacking them. So I love Honey Badger for that. I think she's a lot of fun. And again, it goes back to you have to deal with her. We have another innate ability, Little Sis. If an allied Laura Kenny within range 3 of this character is damaged by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, this character may advance medium towards the character that damaged Laura Kenny. So this one's a really cool ability. It's a once per turn ability, but it's really cool. X23 has it as well for Gabrielle Kenny. Basically, it's a way of getting them up the board. It means that it's a way of, if somebody attacks X23. This is going to put Honey Badger into a position where she's potentially getting into range of Ankle Biter or Too Dangerous to Ignore, which means that you're potentially not getting that double tap onto the much more dangerous X23, or you're even putting the character into a position where they're now rolling fewer defense dice because Honey Badger has just moved up to be a nuisance. So I really like it. Now, granted, there is the range restriction on that one, and X23 can definitely get away from you sometimes. And get up the board and kind of be a nuisance on her own. But I really like it. And then, of course, she has healing factor 1. So this is actually important for a couple of reasons. Because, one, it means that if you fail to take her out, she gets to activate, she is getting some health back. But it also gives her access to the extremely powerful exceptional healing card, which can stop a spike in its tracks. And honestly, things feel really bad when you get a really great attack. You finally take one of the healing factor characters down, and exceptional healing comes out and just keeps them in play. Very powerful card, very powerful ability. There's been some discussion as to whether or not it should be restricted or affiliated or even banned in some cases. But yeah, she has access to this, and it's very powerful as a result. She does also have Jonathan the Unstoppable as another card. I'm not going to really talk about that too much, but it is a way for you to have her hold an objective with Jonathan the Unstoppable. But that's if you want to use one of the tactics cards for it. So where does that leave Honey Badger as a character? Well, as a 2-threat character, she's a great little annoyance. She's got to be dealt with a lot of the time. If you just leave her around, she will cause you problems between her Ankle Biter, between Too Dangerous to Ignore, and again, 5 dice attacks add up. I think she's really great in both X-Force and Weapon X. Weapon X, where she can. Wait, is she Weapon X? No, I don't think she's actually affiliated on that one. But X-Force, where she gets a reroll on her offensive attack dice at times, including the skull if she's within the range, which she always will be with her particular attack range. Anytime you can just sort of get that extra efficiency with your attacks. She works well in Weapon X simply because there's so many other healing factor characters that you can just bring in exceptional healing, and all of a sudden you have like 3-4 characters that have access to this card, and it makes target priority really difficult for the opposing player at that point. Obviously, she's a 2-threat mutant. I don't think she plays the game a little bit better than Toad as far as 2-threats go, but she really does kind of help your attrition game get rolling, which is kind of nice in that regard. So yeah, that is Honey Badger. I think if you're playing attrition, you should try her out. I think she brings a lot of interesting tech to the table as a result of that. It's always great to have a taunt, especially on such a cheap body. And you pair her with X23, and you'll definitely get some good board control and positioning going on with that one. So sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you think about this character and where you think she belongs. And of course, we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.